Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. So it is a cold, wet, miserable day outside today. So we are camped in here in the shop, and I'm gonna do something that I should have done years ago, and that is remove 5-gallon gas cans from my life forever. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So for the last 3 years, I've been cutting about 3 to 4 acres worth of grass every week in the spring, summer, and fall. We run our log splitter, our four-wheeler, our side-by-side. We've got a sawmill now. So we have quite a bit of equipment that runs on gas. And I've been doing it all with just these 2 5-gallon gas cans here. And it seemed like, once or twice a week I was going to refill these back up. And they're just a pain in the neck to deal with. I mean, the spouts don't work. They don't let gas out quick enough. They leak all over the place. They just don't work as they're intended to. And then we've got our 5-gallon diesel can here for the tractor. We don't really use a whole lot of diesel with the tractor, so this really this isn't necessary. But as we start getting into some more equipment rentals and getting excavators, and I learned from doing this pond, we had bulldozers and excavators and all that equipment here that used a lot of fuel, and I had no way to keep them fueled. I ended up borrowing a slip tank from a friend, and I thought, you know what, it's time for me just to get my own fuel storage. And we'll put fuel stabilizer in these 55-gallon drums back here behind us. But the other thing that it's going to do, aside from keeping all of our equipment full and not having to run back and forth to the gas station as much, it's going to give us some peace of mind. As you can see, I've got my generator sitting over there that backs up the whole house. And having 55 gallons of fuel here means that if the power ever goes out, we have plenty of gas to get us through, a week or two of a power outage. So peace of mind, and it's just gonna make our lives a lot easier is why we're doing this. So we've got one 55-gallon drum for gas. This one was already painted red. We've got a 55-gallon drum here for diesel. I went ahead and spray painted this one yellow. And then I got 2 Fill-Rite hand piston pumps. And if you read on the side there, it says 100 strokes of the piston lever will fill you out about 20 gallons worth of fuel. And then I also got 2 inline fuel filters. I did clean out these drums. Basically, I just put a little bit of gas in there, put the caps back on, rolled the barrels around, and then dumped it out. So anything that's still in there, I mean, that's not a really great way to clean it out, but it gets most of it. Anything that didn't get out, the inline fuel filter will. So anyway, let's go ahead and start putting this together. One other thing I need to mention before we get started, this video is meant for entertainment purposes only. It is not meant to be a how-to. If you take it upon yourself to go mess with 55 gallons worth of gasoline, you do so at your own risk, and it is up to you to do all your proper research and learn all of the proper safety precautions you should take to keep from blowing yourself up. Anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I got both kits opened up here. What comes in the piston pump box is your fuel nozzle. You've got your 5/8" fuel hose, your piston pump. They give you this little bit of Teflon tape here. And then you've got this 34-inch telescopic steel suction pipe. And then for the fuel filter kit box, your fuel filter, you've got a couple of fittings here, and then the mount for the fuel filter. Let's go ahead and start getting some of these male ends Teflon taped, and then we'll start putting it together. Just like that, we've got all of our male ends threaded with Teflon tape. Let's go ahead and start putting this together. So we're gonna take our 34-inch steel telescopic suction pipe, thread that in the bottom. We'll go ahead and do the diesel can first. Here's that telescopic suction pipe there. There we go. So if you were gonna forego the inline fuel filter, you would just go ahead and hook up your fuel line right to this side here. But if you're gonna put a fuel filter in, you need some extra space because this just comes right into the bottom of the barrel. So you take this cap nut off the top, and move it to the side. And then you take your little riser fitting here, pop that in the top. Take our elbow. Take our 6-inch extension. And then here's our fuel filter mount, and on this it tells you what direction the fuel should be flowing. And so it says in here with an arrow pointing this way and then out. So this needs to go on this side. And then I did take a little bit of oil and wet the seal on here just so it's easier to change out. Second to last piece is to thread our hose in. And then lastly is our fuel nozzle. And then the nice thing about these Fill-Rite fuel pumps is they give you a nice spot for your nozzle to go to keep your fuel line up off the ground and keep it from getting tangled up. All right, so the diesel can is all done. That's what the finished product looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process for the gas can here off camera. And then once I finish that up, I'll go ahead and show you what I'm thinking my process is gonna be for loading these up in the bed of the truck and taking them to go fill them up. All right, so now the gas and the diesel are both done, and if you take a quick look behind the drums, you can kind of get an idea where I'm headed with this. I think I'm gonna sacrifice one of my IBC totes to put these in. That'll make it really easy to get in underneath these with the pallet forks, lift it up with the tractor, and load them in and out of the bed of the truck to take them to go fill them. I've seen some other people that they'll load these onto just a wooden pallet, and then they'll put some eye hooks in the side of the pallet and crisscross some ratchet straps to hold it down in place. But let's be honest here, these things are very top heavy. A regular transfer tank is a little bit more square or rectangular. These are very cylindrical and very tall. They're very top heavy. So I like the idea of having the cage go around the outside, and it also gives you some more tie down points for ratchet straps. And I'm gonna feel more comfortable transporting it that way inside one of these IBC totes. Now, the only problem I see with that is this IBC tote is much taller than the barrel itself, which could pose a range of motion issue for the pump. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take my angle grinder and grind off the top row of framing on this IBC tote. That way I don't have any issues with the IBC tote getting in the way of the mechanics of the pump. All right, there we go. Both barrels in the IBC tote and strapped down. I threw a ratchet strap right around the base of this one and went around, and I'm trying to suck it in towards this front corner. And then the diesel can, I did the same thing, went around low with it, and I'm sucking it towards that front corner. And then I threw a strap up over the top and tied that one down to kind of give us some downward pressure. And I made sure to put some cardboard on the lip of this drum, because this is kind of, it's not a real sharp corner, but it's sharp enough that if you get enough tension on there, it'd want to cut that strap. But anyway, let's go ahead and load this up into the bed of the pickup truck and take them and fill them up. I tell you what, with today's gas prices, I'm thinking it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 bucks to fill this one up and about 150 to fill this up. So 350 bucks. Hopefully we only have to do this a couple times a year and not, you know, every week like we've been doing with the 5-gallon cans. All right, there we go, guys. Just got back from the gas station and pulled it off the back of the truck. The tractor handled it just fine. You know, water weighs about 8 pounds per gallon. I'm not sure if gas and diesel is a little bit heavier or lighter than that. But if this is 50 gallons of fuel in each drum, that's 100 gallons. This roughly weighs about 800 pounds plus, you know, the weight of the steel drums and the pumps and all that. So let's say maybe 900 pounds. The tractor had no problem lifting this out when these were full. Got it set over here on the corner of the garage. This will be my little fueling station. And I'm really excited. I want to go ahead and try this out right now. I know it might not seem like much, guys, but this is a dream come true after dealing with 5-gallon gas cans for 3 years. All right, so a couple of things I want to talk about before we wrap this one up, and one of those is that these 55-gallon drums are not vented, so my plan for that is these fill caps here, I'm just going to leave those backed almost all the way out so that these drums can breathe. The second thing is that creates a problem with moisture and rainwater, and the last thing you want is water in your fuel. So in the short term, what I'm planning on doing is I'm just going to tarp this to keep the weather off of it, and also the sun. You don't want the sun beating on a 55-gallon drum of gas. In the long term, since we have a sawmill, what I'd like to do is build just a short little lean-to roof off of here to keep the rain and sun off of these. Now, the third thing I need to do for safety is I want to ground my 55-gallon drum of gas, just because it has a pretty low flash point, and any kind of static spark or anything could really set that off, and that's the last thing I want. Now, I'm not going to put that in this video. What I'll do is I will link a video to somebody else who has shown you how to ground a 55-gallon drum of gasoline. They did a pretty good job explaining the whole process and why it's necessary. Anyway, I think that about wraps this one up. I don't expect you guys to be as excited about these 55-gallon drums as I am, but if you've spent any amount of time dealing with a lot of volume of diesel or gasoline with 5-gallon gas cans, you probably get it. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.